Welcome, friends, to a tale so grand. From the Book of Judges, a hero stand. In chapters rich and stories old, of warriors brave and faith so bold. Our first tale is of Jephthah, strong and true, called by God with a vow to pursue. A leader in battle, but his promise did bind. A lesson in vows and the cost you will find. In Gilead lived a warrior strong, Jephthah, who righted many wrongs. Born of Gilead and a harlot fair, rejected by brothers, faced despair. Driven away to Tob, he led a band of reckless men in a foreign land. Yet Israel's elders, in time of need, sought out Jephthah to lead the deed. The Ammonites threatened, fierce and proud, Jephthah was called. His vow he vowed, "If victory is granted by the Lord's hand, I'll sacrifice the first that greets me on this land." The elders agreed, and Jephthah led, with courage and faith, he faced what lay ahead. He sent messengers to the king of Ammon, asking why they warred upon Gilead's land. The king responded with a heart of stone, "Israel took our lands which we now own." But Jephthah replied with wisdom clear, "Israel took not what you hold dear. From Egypt we came, by God's command, through wilderness and desert to this land. For 300 years we have lived in peace. Now you seek war, our claim to cease." The king ignored Jephthah's wise appeal, and so to battle they took the field. The Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah strong. He led Israel's army to right the wrong. The battle raged, the victory won. Jephthah returned, the day was done. But as he came near, who should appear? His daughter dancing with joyful cheer. Heart shattered, vow sealed by fate, Jephthah wept at his tragic state. "Father, you've made a vow," she sighed. "Do as you promised," his daughter replied. She asked for time to mourn her days, with friends on the mountains in their ways. 2 months she roamed, her fate set tight, returned to her father to end the night. Jephthah's heart heavy, his vow complete. A tragic promise, a bitter defeat. Her memory honored by Israel's daughters, who mourned her loss by annual quarters. And so Jephthah ruled with sorrow deep, a lesson in vows, their costs to keep. For words once spoken cannot return, and promises made from mistakes we learn. Our next tale is of Gideon, so brave, whose faith in God the people did save. A humble man, with courage true, let's see what faith and trust can do. In the land of Israel, times were tough. The Midianites' oppression was more than enough. Gideon hid, threshing wheat with care, when an angel of the Lord appeared there. "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior," he said, but Gideon, in doubt, shook his head. "How can I save Israel? My clan is weak, and I am the least," he began to speak. But the angel declared with a voice so grand, "Go in the strength you have by God's command." Still doubting, Gideon sought a sign to know that God's plan was truly divine. He laid out a fleece on the threshing floor. "Let it be wet with dew and the ground be dry," he swore. In the morning it was as he had sought, but Gideon asked again, for his heart was fraught. "Let the fleece be dry and the ground be wet." God did this too, his promise firmly set. Gideon knew then his calling was true, to lead Israel's army, their strength to renew. With faith renewed, Gideon blew the horn, gathering men from night to morn. 32,000 answered the call, but God had a plan to humble them all. "Too many," God said, "for my hand to show. Send home the fearful, let the brave ones go." 22,000 left, 10,000 stayed, but still the Lord's plan was further laid. "Take them to the water and let them drink. Those who lap like dogs in the group, they will sink." 300 men drank from their hands. These were the chosen by God's commands. With only 300, Gideon was set to face the vast Midianite threat. God promised victory with his guiding hand, a lesson in trust to understand. At midnight, with torches and jars in hand, Gideon and his men took their stand, surrounding the camp with stealth and might, ready to strike in the dead of night. When I blow the trumpet, you do the same. Shout for the Lord in Gideon's name. The jars were smashed, the trumpets blew, the torches blazed, the confusion grew. A sword for the Lord and for Gideon, they cried. The Midianites panicked, and many died. In their chaos they turned on each other, brothers in arms striking one another. Gideon's men pursued the fleeing horde. Victory was theirs by the hand of the Lord. With faith and courage they won the fight, delivering Israel from the Midianite might. And so Gideon led with wisdom and grace, bringing peace to Israel in every place. For 40 years they knew no strife. Thanks to Gideon's faith, they lived in life. And now we turn to Samson's tale, a man of strength who would prevail. With mighty feats and love's deep sting, let's learn what trust and strength can bring. Samson's strength was known far and wide, a Nazirite with God on his side. From birth, he was set apart, a special mission in his heart. An angel told his mother dear, "Your son will lead, have no fear. No razor shall touch his head, for by God's will he'll be led." As Samson grew, his strength did show, but his passions too began to grow. He married a woman from Philistine land against his parents' guiding hand. At his wedding feast he posed a riddle to 30 companions in the middle. Out of the eater, something to eat, out of the strong, something sweet. They couldn't solve it. They were vexed. They threatened his wife, leaving her perplexed. She begged Samson, "Tell me, please." He relented to give her ease. They solved the riddle. Samson burned with wrath. He killed 30 men and took their cloth. His wife was given to another man. Samson's vengeance then began. He caught 300 foxes sly, tied torches to their tails, and set them to fly. Through the Philistines' fields they ran, burning crops, as was his plan. The Philistines came in great dismay. "Who did this?" they began to say. Samson fled to a cave in Judah's land. The Philistines sought him with a command. The men of Judah in fear did plea, "Don't you know they rule us? Can't you see?" But Samson agreed to be bound and brought, trusting in the strength that God had wrought. As they approached the Philistine camp, the Spirit of the Lord came like a lamp. He broke the ropes like burned-up flax, found a donkey's jawbone, and began the attacks. With that jawbone he slew 1,000 men, his strength renewed again and again. He led Israel for 20 years, through trials, battles, and many fears. But Samson's love for women was his flaw. A woman named Delilah the Philistines saw. They bribed her to find the secret of his might. She asked him daily, "What gives you your fight?" 3 times he tricked her, told her lies, but her persistence wore him to his demise. "My hair's never been cut, my strength will fail. If shaved, I'm weak, like any male." Delilah lulled him into sleep, called a man to shear, while Samson lay deep. His strength was gone, his eyes put out. Bound in chains, he was paraded about. In their temple they mocked and jeered, but Samson's heart to God adhered. "Lord, give me strength just once more." He prayed to God, his heart outpour. Placed between the pillars he felt his power. His hair had grown in that final hour. He pushed with all his might, the temple fell, killing more in his death, the story does tell. Samson's end was tragic, yet bold, a tale of strength in the days of old. His story warns of trust misplaced, and the power of God's grace embraced. In life he battled Philistine foes. In death he brought their temple low. A judge of Israel, flawed yet great, his story lives on to contemplate. 3 tales from judges, brave and bright, Jephthah, Gideon, Samson's might. Each story with a lesson, clear and true, of faith and trust and what God can do. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe For more Bible tales, come join our tribe. Until next time, keep these stories near and live with faith, not in fear.